it's Scott Manley here, and this is...
Marlona Sky.
And we're doing yet another one of these unnamed Eve podcast type things.
Still looking for a name.
Seppuku was the word that just came to mind, because it sometimes feels like we're falling on our own sword with some of the things we say. But actually, yeah, you did that. You did actually commit suicide in-game, right? On the 10th anniversary day, Flight of the Thousand Rifters.
Well, I wouldn't say it was... Well, yeah, I did commit suicide with a large audience.
Yes.
So, it was pretty good.
It was epic, and that video we made is up like 43,000 hits right now. That's pretty good for one of ours. And that's not including the hits from the French website that reposted it without my permission. Thank you very much.
Should hire a lawyer.
Yeah, if they'd asked, it might have worked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, you it looks like, have you gone through all the prizes yet?
Oh, heavens no. I'm like halfway through the tier 1 prizes. And I thought about just announcing, like last night, I thought about giving like a partial, like here's 1 through 15 on 1st through 15th place for right now.
Right.
And then, but I'm just going to wait till I'm done. So another day or so, just been really kind of busy and just really going through every single kill mode. Because there's a lot of guys that they kill my horde on a whole bunch of stuff while they were shooting torpedoes. It looks like, I really thought it was going to be the blaster boats that would get top damage, but
it was the stealth bombers.
Because... they don't have to be close to me. They can just orbit it. Like, you can hit up to 50k if you get really good skills with torpedoes. So,
and they cloak as well. So if the heat comes in, you can get away. They're easy to get in there, and they don't have to worry about signature radius, right? Normally with stealth bombers, they're only really good at attacking battleships and stuff. So they, but hey, you're larger than that, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I guess the only downside would be that if there was somebody smart bombing, then they would lose torpedoes to that. But that's better than losing your entire ship.
Yeah, then again, like we said in the video, then it happened like kind of towards the end. There was a couple of people that tried smart bombing.
There was a lot of those, yeah.
Yeah, they got killed, and
we looked at the battle report, and there was something like 3,000 people over the surrounding systems, right? Including
if you include adjacent, and normally one could argue like, well, you should include it adjacent, but really because once the gates started to lock down, a lot of fights started happening. One jump out.
Oh, I came out here. I might as well fight.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So it's I got the numbers somewhere here.
The Eve kill got a little confused as to who was hostile and who was friendly. In fact, I know many people were on both sides.
Yeah. Like I mentioned on our previous coverage of this in the video, is like, I had 91 rifters, but because of the people smart bombing around me, there was a lot of the rifters that died at exactly the same time. So Eve kill assumes that several kill mails are in fact the same kill mail, and that's technically not true.
Also true. Yeah.
So there's only it only shows like 20 of my rifters dying.
Yeah. It was an epic event. But that was not the only event that went on that day. Let's be clear. CCP gave out a pile of free stuff to people there.
I haven't had a chance to theorycraft an EFT warrior on my how do you pronounce it again?
There's a little bit Gnosis.
Gnosis.
It's just a Gnosis, yes. It's basically a cruiser that does everything. The nice thing about it is that it requires basically no skills to get into. The only thing you need is weapon skills, which is kind of interesting.
Well, it's you could fit it however you want as far as weapons goes.
You can, but you don't actually need a cruiser skill or anything to get into it. That's the main thing.
Did not notice
Which is interesting if you, say, got a freshly minted alt and you need them to start making cash or something, you could throw them into that, theoretically. May not be a good idea, given that it's quite a pricey vehicle, but I've heard...
There's already slews dying left and right. I've seen so many kill mails so far, and they're just
a lot of them died in the
fit.
day. Yeah. the CCP devs were, of course, flying around in those. That was the ship of choice.
I had a little help with some implants.
Oh yeah. To make up for their amazing skills, they had Aurora implants, right, which just give you bonuses that you can't get in game, basically.
Yeah. But or dev crutch is what I call
it. The dev crutch implant. I did see CCP Guard flying around as well during Flight of 1,000 Rifters. He was there in his Polaris ship for a while. I think that was maybe before you undocked.
Oh, I tried to. Well, I remember seeing that in local and people talking about it, and then when I undocked, I would try to scroll down the overview to see who was there, and
it was impossible.
Yeah, so I finally just gave up.
I did get video of him, but he was just kind of cruising around in circles, and you can't shoot him or anything.
Using the dev crutch ship.
Yeah, it's immune to everything. I remember apparently somebody tried to doomsday once with the agreement of the dev, because you couldn't target it. You could hit it with an AoE device, and I think it took like 1% of its shields off with the Titan, an old style AoE doomsday.
Years ago they had the Jovian battleship, and they were doing a test on it.
That was a famous video, yeah,
where everybody would come in. They would just try to do damage to it, and back then the kill mails only showed, I think it was the top 10 or top 15 damage dealers, and they were just doing trying to pull information and numbers, and it took a long time for everybody to kill them. So and
we've never seen them since, right? We're still waiting for some real Jovian ships, because the Gnosis is close, but it isn't really the same thing.
I saw one on the test on Tranquility one time. This was shortly after Apocrypha had come out.
Oh yeah,
and I was in a Proteus, and somehow I was testing it out, and I was doing this mission or something, and I was finding out that it wasn't like invincible, and I warped out at the same time. My ship initiator warped right when it was supposed to die. So, and this was I forget which system it was, but I landed on the station, and then that was it. I was still in the ship, but I couldn't dock, I couldn't do anything, and people still could see me in the ship. And so after like a couple hours, I petitioned, and I even logged back in, and I lost all my skill points. I had 0 skill points.
Oh!
Yeah, and then that's when like my heart sank, and then finally I just said, well, screw it, and I just ejected. And then, it's funny to watch local as people are like, is that an empty Proteus? And people are trying to approach it, and they would go to jump into it, and then they would get locked into it. It was like this Bermuda Triangle of players, and they were, and... So finally I went back into it, and then a dev had appeared, and he was like, yeah, you were supposed to be dead. But he didn't tell me I was supposed to be dead. He was like, yeah, I'm going to help you out. And so he appears.
I see dead people.
And yeah, he locks me up with this Jovian battleship and blows me up. So, when he appears, I'm like, oh, thank God, help is here. And then...
Did you catch a screenshot?
I did not.
Dude.
So... yeah, it was. I was like, wow, I just got killed by a dev in a Jovian ship.
So, yeah, dev hacks.
But they got a lot of. Speaking of the test server, though,
the test server is now up. New build. Yep, all the new awesome stuff. The gate transitions are in. I have been flying around, jumping through gates just because it looks amazing.
And they got the new. Is it Apocalypse?
New Apocalypse models in. The new scan thing happens as soon as you jump through the gate. It does this kind of sweep around, and you immediately see all the anomalies. And
you can toggle it on and toggle it off, I think.
Yeah, there is a toggle, but it seems to automatically scan regardless when you jump through the gates.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. You can see whether there is a signature in system that's worth scanning for. So instead of wasting time scanning and finding there's nothing...
I think it also, I read somewhere that it shows actually how far away it is, too, from where you're at.
Oh, I hadn't looked at that in great detail. That may very well be the case. What I did notice was that if there is a planet or something behind the icon, it's very hard to click on it in space. So you have to, it kind of gets in the way of things in space. And
it's people need to get on the test server, and you go. A lot of people they'll get on there and they think it's just okay, free ships do whatever. But when you notice, issues and you got to give feedback. It's one of the few games that lets you actually go and hop on these things.
Yeah,
and test this stuff out. So you're kind of responsible for the build that comes out if you just get on there and you don't report anything. So take the time to fill out bug reports and things like that.
Absolutely, yeah. Don't shy away from complaining if something is broken on the test server.
Yes, complain before it gets to TQ, please.
Yeah, but apparently there are people that they basically, that's all they do is the test server. That's the only thing, and they have like a kill board on the test server.
Yeah, there's a test server kill board.
My avatar, I flew it into one of the... I had an avatar for a while on the test server, and I flew it into one of the like test areas, and then, as I'm aligning out, somebody dropped a hick on me, and then 6 Titans drop on me. And
they have a super cap group in there that they... make sure that they're only it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's been interesting because everybody's had the super caps going on because it was Retribution 1.2 they were testing, and they were basically testing the updated texture, so they wanted everyone to have super caps. And in a moment of of brilliant trolling, they released the new super cap textures the day after Flight of 1,000 Rifters.
Yes.
So my video could have looked so much nicer.
Well, might mean we have to do it again sometime.
We'll have to do it again sometime. Although I think actually super caps may not be the best thing to kill with frigates, given the lag and
might
everything.
Have to upgrade 1,000. Flight of 1,000 Cyclones or something.
Yeah, Flight of 1,000 battle cruisers. I think I don't know how that would honestly work. Gotta think of a cool event. Maybe just have a carrier group that gets to make it bigger.
I gotta mix it up for next time though. I mean, I always like to try to do something different, and one thing's for sure though, I'm pretty convinced though, is if I'm expecting a high turnout, I think I'm really gonna have to find a better way to go about doing these prizes though, because it's very super time consuming as far as the situation ones where, if there was one where I had to there was one prize where I told the guy, I was like, look, I can't do it. And it was having like a mining group, and it was like go mine like 2,000 Arc North and come back and then like jettison it for the Knicks to scoop it up and just all this stuff during the fight. Yeah, I was like, I don't think this is possible.
Yeah, I listen. I promised a Plex to the person that got the final blow on the second most expensive kill mail. The kill mail, it wasn't you basically.
Yeah,
I have not even sat around trying to figure that out yet.
It's there's right now. Yesterday I checked and it was 2,902 ships killed, with a total value, including this, if you include adjacent, which you really should, is 83.53 billion.
Oh, nice! It's not the most expensive thing by a long way, but it's probably up there in terms of low sec, right?
Yeah, alliances involved 885, corporations involved 1,314.
Wow!
Total players involved, and I'm pretty sure it's individuals, 4,925.
Yeah. And so I've been underestimating things because people were saying, "Oh, you could only get 2,800 people into system. That couldn't possibly be that many people on the kill mail." But yeah.
Well, I mean, I honestly I don't know. I mean, because I think people. I mean, I think it was 5 or 6 systems in next to the system the event was in. So. And I know there was, I saw a video of, I think it was a pirate group that they were coming in with Nagas, or like tier 3 battle cruisers, like the favorite thing. And they couldn't get in the gate, so they sit there and burn off the gate, and they just sat there. And as people were coming in, and
the comedy.
Yeah, it was like it was shooting fish in a barrel, It
literally was. You were just the big fish as well.
Yeah, the big fish, slowly fried. So,
but the other thing that was in Retribution 1.2 was the Dreadnought changes as well, right? The Naglfar or Naglfar.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be.
Yep. It now has 2 turrets with a 50% damage bonus, and it only has 3. Oh wait a second. Reduction.
So it's going to feel like 3 turrets,
right?
So, it's a way they can kind of fix the ship without having to wait for the art department to, sculpt it, draw it, or whatever it is that they do. So,
and they also, they also removed the only turret on the Phoenix, so you cannot mine in your Phoenix anymore.
Yeah, you don't have any drones to mine, and you can't fit a mining laser. So,
but still, I notice on the new test server release, you can get capital mining rigs for your dreadnoughts, or capital drone mining rigs for your. There are capital scan rigs, capital hyperspace velocity rigs.
What's the rig that you have that's just
it's
completely worthless?
A hyperspeed rig, right? So you can get that for capitals now, and it'll be completely worthtless. If you wanted, 15% extra warp speed on your capital ships is going to make all the difference, right?
I'm kind of curious. What is the percentage of cap fights where you actually warp the capitals into the fight as opposed to just signing them directly there?
That's true. I don't know how often that happens anymore. Certainly, there's many comical moments where I've seen people, warp carriers and stuff to gates, and then realize I've seen that happen on occasion. Oh shit! I can't jump through. Yeah. Yeah,
I want a module that when I activate it, it keeps people from remote repping me.
that would be a nice one.
Yeah.
Oh yes, but it's Retribution 1.2. I mean, that's really the last release before Odyssey, right?
Yeah,
Odyssey. Odyssey.
Well, don't forget we got on Tranquility right now. We got new station hangars.
Oh yeah,
we got
new
traffic.
Hangars. That's right.
Yeah, we got new traffic going in. Ships exiting that when you undock, they're not actually there. So
yeah.
But
and, we have it also has all the Dust 514 integration stuff for Uprising, right?
Oh yeah, Uprising, brand new build.
Yep.
I sat there and downloaded it, went to play it. Some issues there.
I downloaded it and went to play it, and then I had to come down and do some video stuff. So I haven't actually got to play it, but I've at least logged in, and
it looks great. It really looks great, and the way you go about your skill progression, and it's very. They kept the old method for hardcore EVE players that really prefer that, where it's like fire hose information on your screen, where you got to sit there and really figure it out. But
I love that.
Yeah. Well, I like both, so it's I kind of can appreciate both, but I really like the way they have it set up for the console, as far as you just it really kind of steps you into each stage, and it's really nice. No longer are you going to be spawn camped. You go to spawn somewhere, and before you even sit there and see what's going on, you're dead.
Yeah, I've had that happen on a few occasions.
Yeah. I think you stay cloaked for 9 seconds, and then a couple seconds after you start moving, then you appear. So, but there is right now the biggest issue right now that a lot of people have, and I hate saying this, but there's some aiming issues, real laggy and jumpy, and there's some issues that they got to really try to fix as soon as possible. So.
But okay. There's new drop suits in there, right? New drop suits.
Yeah, they got new drop suits, and I think also
skill
people.
Rebalance, right?
Yeah. Every all the money you spent, everything was refunded to you, including Aurum, and then all your skill points were refunded to you. So it was like a total remap of.
Well, that's good, because my skills were designed. I picked my skills like an idiot. I realized in retrospect.
I put all mine into the battle rifle and. Scrambler pistol, so that way I can just use the free default one until I can actually get good enough to start spending money.
Yeah, I have to say I'm very much in that vein myself. Although as soon as I can transfer money, I will be bling bling to the extreme.
It's better. It's definitely better. And once they kind of fix those couple of kinks with this deployment, which I think they already have like in the pipe, so to speak.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Maybe
I discovered apparently that I'm not supposed to make videos about it either until the official 5.14 release date as well. apparently it's embargoed. I was going to make some release, and then I was talking with some journalists like, "No, you can't do that. They'll ban your account.
Oh wow,
they'll sue you."
That there was a very, very bad game that we won't talk about where. There was some money duplicating, and some popular streamers was showing how it was done.
Well, why can't we mention the game? This is
because
Diablo 3. Come on, it's so funny.
Man, that game was such a disappointment.
The comedy. Yeah, the guy.
I bought that and I played it and I really wanted to like it. I was like, I want to love this game. It's been a long time since I've played a dungeon crawler. And then just like after a couple weeks, I never opened it ever again. I just couldn't. I just gave up. I was like,
it says in this article that somebody managed to procure 470 trillion gold. And I have no idea, because I haven't played Diablo 3, whether that's a lot. But, that's seems quite a lot. But yeah, there's a picture of the guys buying everything from the auction house and throwing it on the floor. But yes, comedy.
Total disarray there. But
thank God that doesn't happen in Eve.
Got a little bit of disarray in Nullsec as far as the HBC is concerned.
The Honey Badger Coalition. Now the Honey Badger Coalition, if I remember rightly, and I'm probably terrible at this was for Delve 2012, if I remember. And it was Pandemic Legion and Test kind of pulled together this coalition.
Yeah, they kind of...
And then it was going to be the big summer event, and then it happened so fast that I never had a chance to actually log in and
they
help.
had this like almost like a film trailer.
They put a trailer, Delve 2012.
Yeah,
it was
and
awesome.
I saw that, and it's funny how they kind of edited it together, because I could sit there and see what they were doing to make it look like they were going up against, the world and stuff, and it wasn't.
I bought like a bunch of Tengus. They're still sitting in Delve.
Yeah, just fizzle.
I don't like. Okay, what am I gonna? I'm not gonna sell these. Like. So they took that, and then they've been kind of faffing around for the last year.
I guess it was one of those. It was a good idea when we thought about it, and then
Delve is a good region, right?
Yeah. Maybe it just has to do with trying to hold together a coalition, and I guess maybe when you have coalition members that don't really get along with each other, I mean, it just makes it impossible.
Right.
So how many test CEOs? I mean, like in the last month.
Oh God, they've gone through like half a dozen CEOs, I think.
Yeah, every time I sit there and turn around, there's like a new, so and so is the new test CEO, and then you got is it Sword Dragon? Like
Sword Dragon, yeah.
It's like we were getting CEOs that aren't even in test to be.
Right. But I mean, test is like Goon Swarm, right? They're practically, in many, many ways, they're there because they're all on Reddit, and that's what brings them together.
Yeah, I mean, they came from a forum, which is Reddit, and so that's what kind of makes them who they are, and I think well, the point I guess I'm making is that the rest of Honey Badger are more Eve players, right? Yeah,
and they wanted to get organized and keep people in line and ban people from forums, and Test were like, no, this is who we are, like
Oh yeah, and because I guess were I don't know, I mean, were they really like the anchor? Pretty much the anchor alliance in the coalition, or
I mean, well, given that Pandemic Legion had left, I think a long time ago, they were probably I mean, I as I understand it, right? Test and PL were the kind of anchor upon which HBC formed, and then since
Test provided
PL's
the numbers,
gone,
PL provided the FCs,
and all the others were kind of there trying to think they're hot shit, right?
Well, what was it? I mean, they were fighting Raiden, and Raiden was part of the which block was that? And then Raiden just flipped sides and like, okay, well, you guys are winning the war, so we want to be winners, so we're just gonna hop over with you guys. And the reason being is we didn't like the way we were being treated, which is probably the case too, from what I understand. But I don't know. I'm not a real big fan of the whole, you got the same people just under a different banner in the same space,
Right.
That kind of goes on everywhere.
But anyway, I mean, it's kind of cool. There's kind of some, it's always nice to see activity in Nullsec. I don't see huge soft wars happening over this. I think what'll happen is HBC will just kind of, rot away into nothing, and Test will hold its space.
I mean, the only kind of major soft changes that you see nowadays is when one side, when they're just completely outnumbered or they're just losing dramatically, and just kind of give up. And I mean, that's about it until CCP comes up with an actual, a solve system that works. It's just coalitions aren't going anywhere. And when one coalition goes to fight another, it's like they're not just fighting just the one alliance. It's like they got to fight, and in order to quote unquote win, it means they have to conquer all the other coalition space. So it's like you get this really terrible SOV system, and now you got that times 1,000 systems or something. Right. It's like, so God, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, it's still better than the old SOV system.
It's debatable, I guess. Yeah, each one has its own demon. You know?
I don't know. One thing I do not like about the SOV system is the fact that it simply boils down to ISK, right? In that, as long as you have the ISK coming in, you can keep SOV in a system. You don't have to have anyone in the system doing anything in system, as long as you're spending the money. And
some people say that it's our own fault. It is the way it is, which, I mean, you could sit there and, I mean, it's a valid argument. If an alliance only had to fight another alliance and that was it, then the SOV system that we have now it's not too bad. I mean, it's not that great because it's structure grinding and stuff, but it's not of the magnitude that just makes it like you would much rather just jump in front of traffic than do it. It's kind of like, So, but I think the biggest problem there is because in order to go from the first time you fire the first bullet, to, invasion, and where you finish conquering that system or whatever it may be, it's more than enough time for anybody anywhere in the game to come and assist either side. So then it starts to escalate like terribly. So, and then it's like, well, since they're here to help or they're there to defend, that means they're together. That means we have to conquer their stuff and their stuff, the people who help them. Right. Yeah. And it's a escalation that is bad, and you got good escalation, bad escalation, I think. But
I mean, like when you get up to the large alliances, though, the soft grind, it isn't. There's different kinds of grind. There's the old cell grind where you're literally running, hitting a station forever to kill it, and then you have like the grind that I experience with SOV and Goonswarm, where we basically where it's like hit a pause. We're like literally the dreads barely get one cycle of they'll not get one cycle of siege mode, and it's just going from one to the other, and then you have this epic timetable that will happen from all the reinforced, and somebody's trying to sort out when everything gets hit.
Yeah, and put it in some sort of logical order to come back and finish it.
And then maybe the enemy comes in and actually makes an attempt, and then there's a battle. But if you're doing the SOV grinding, then you're not necessarily set up to fight against those. So there's a quick bit of reshipping and whatnot. But usually that doesn't stop the grind. But it's all about the timetable, I guess, is what I'm saying, rather than sitting and shooting structures forever, because it doesn't take a lot of time to shoot the structures with a large fleet.
Well, because I mean, when you have something that's like, okay, it has this many hit points, and it's like, well, then right there, it's just basically says the more you bring, the better off you are. That just encourages you to bring more people. So there's all kinds of things in the game that says bring more, if you want to do better, if you want to win, just bring more and more and more. And there's very few that says you don't want to bring more, and
right. Well,
and I'm not saying that's the right way. It's just
there's like PvE content, right? There's the incursions where you're supposed to have only a certain amount, and more than that, and you lose rewards. And
I don't think that would be something like that. Wouldn't really be the answer either.
It would not be the answer. No, we're not gonna. Certainly, I don't think we're gonna solve the problems of SOV on this scale.
Yeah,
but
it's out there. There's a system out there that we just, it just keeps taking people. Just I'd much rather hear like 1,000 terrible ideas if it means I eventually hear the one idea that's the key,
Now, have you looked at the Dust Planetary Conquest system?
No, I played around with the maps, though.
Oh, okay. Man. The maps are cute, yeah.
The map system's nice. I mean, it's really... it's interesting.
Yeah, the main thing that I see in the planetary conquest is that there's basically three things you get. You get more planetary, mining from planetary interaction. You can get faster production on your pauses, or you can get lower fuel consumption.
Now, is this live on TQ right now?
I'm not sure if it's live, but it's certain. Oh. This is what they've. I'm not sure if it's actually live because I haven't looked, but I suspect it may go live on 5.14 or something. But
they'd have to have it where we can actually start doing the whole money, where we can interact.
Right? Why?
Well, I mean, people would pay for that.
Sure. Yeah, I guess so. I guess that would make sense. But I guess the thing I'm looking here is that if you are a Nullsec alliance with a Dust group, none of those things actually appeal to you in any way, because if you're a Nullsec alliance, you have better production on your planets already. You have a fuel bonus because you have SOV anyway. So I guess the only thing is slightly faster production on your pauses.
Well, the fuel thing may come into play now that when Odyssey comes out, and you're going to see like a stranglehold on ice initially, at least.
Right, but the SOV system already gives you a bonus to ice to fuel consumption, right? I don't know. Maybe so unless it's more for these low-sec systems. Anyway, I think my point is that if you are like someone like a large alliance that puts together a group for playing Dust, there's not really actually any strategic incentive. You're just going to do it to annoy other players and stop them having the SOV or the planetary conquest.
Yeah, that's true.
You're not going to be doing it from a business point of view, but it will be fun nonetheless, no doubt, to deny others access to these potential things.
Oh, if there's a way to annoy somebody, and if it means you sit there and you send us to a console game for them to do something to...
And then just hold SOV over every planet, Yeah, there's certain groups that might do that.
Yeah, I would do it.
I would do it.
So I think it's great possibilities. There's a lot of great possibilities for stuff to do that, and as long as they keep, doing things slowly, making sure they're not doing it too fast, and next things are broken, and gold is being duplicated left and right.
Oh yeah. Actually, I do hear that one of the important changes in Dust 5.14, the Dust Uprising, is that you can now pick your side in factional warfare instead of getting randomly assigned.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't picked out a corp or anything. I would just do the random battles. So I'm interested in the other stuff, but it's again, I almost didn't want to like commit. It's like, I don't really want to, pick a side. I want to be, when I sit there and turn on my PS3, I want to have that merc attitude. It's like, what? Whoever's paying me the top dollar.
Paying, yeah.
Yeah, that's who I'm fighting for. So.
But, yeah, if you remember the battle for Caldari Prime, there were supposedly, something would depend upon the Dust battles, like which side was ahead, but it didn't actually work particularly well because you were randomly assigned to a different side every time you played. Even as a Caldari, I played...
So every match you would either be on Caldari, or every match...
Or Galente.
The next match you would be fighting for Galente. Oh, yeah, that's weird.
So the scores really meant nothing, as I understand it. As interesting as it was to see a Titan, attracting all these people in high sec to die horribly.
It's just a lot of possibilities there, and I can't wait to sit there and one day we'll sit there and look at it, and it's like it'll just be second nature. It's like, well, I want to accomplish XYZ in Eve, so I'm gonna sit there and hire some Dust guys, or I want to sit there and do something in Dust, so I'm gonna hire some Eve guys, and it's gonna be I don't want to say seamless, but it'll feel like it's one game, so to speak.
And yeah, I mean, speaking of feeling that it's one game, we're already seeing some serious metagaming on the Dust front. Metagaming that was considered so serious that the corporation was actually kicked out of its alliance, more or less. And of course, I'm speaking of Immobile Infantry, who kind of had set themselves up as the official Goon Swarm Dust unit.
So how does one go about? How did they go about setting themselves up as the official?
They basically posted on something awful forums and tried to get everyone to join them, and that's what happened. Everybody that was a goon was joining them, and we were running around fighting. And then I guess he crossed some unwritten line, the cerebral wolf, and got named all sorts of horrible, got called all sorts of horrible names, and Mitani essentially said, okay, we're actually creating an official Dust Corporation. And that led to all sorts of drama in and of itself because,
wow.
You don't want to have multiple forum threads and things like that. But point is, the official Goon Fleet Dust Squad is now Goon Feet. So I'm in the process of transferring over and whatever. But
you gonna buy some Orem to get some boots on those feet, or
God, I hope not. But yeah, the Cerebral Wolf was apparently the word was he had some out of game information on the CEOs of other dust corporations and was trying to blackmail them with it. And that is perhaps a line that should be.
I like metagame that just kind of stays in the game. I don't like the where all of a sudden there's power plays being made outside of the game.
Yeah, it is a fuzzy line, where it crosses, where you cross the line.
Well, it must have been something pretty big to,
I mean, I'm kind of not against spies, for example. That's spying on people's forums and stuff. That's cool. I'm not sure about hacking into other people's forums, but it happens.
Yeah. I'm not a real big fan of that. I don't really care for the whole.
Well, the big secret is that most forums don't contain very much interesting content, really.
Oh yeah, no, I got you. But it's that whole where you find that one gold nugget where it makes it all worth it.
Yeah, and speaking of gold nuggets, have you looked at the Eve True Stories site that is now taking votes?
Oh yeah, that's right. I've actually been going through some stories. I actually I was showing somebody last night, and then she sat there and just started reading and started downvoting while I was elsewhere.
Yeah, downvoting is the way most of these go.
And I started getting these mails, and even they're like, "Well, you don't like my story," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" So I had to go back, and I was like, "Oh my god," so I had to go and undo the damage, and then
but you can do that damage with all of your characters, not just your accounts, but for every character.
Well, one of the bad things was they had it where people who've been banned or unsubscribed could sit there and vote. And one of these stories, one guy's claiming that he got 100 votes from one person.
Oh, wow.
Character. So
all I know is that, one of the things I noticed is that every time, Mitani wrote his thing about the taking down of Bob, and, so he posted that to Twitter.
You mean, what's his name that took down Bob?
Yeah. Well, his participation in the recruitment, I can't remember, what's his name from Black Nova Corporation. It was it was the disbanding of Bob, right?
Oh yeah. That's right. I mean that's news. That
was a serious. So he posted the link to his version of the story, which was very much edited to fit into 5,000 words, because you can't get him to stop talking.
Yeah, what is it? Let's see. The Mitani's is upvote 831, 23 debate, 95 downvote.
Yeah, so he posted that to Twitter, and of course the site crashed under the load. Like, it seems to be not the best website, let's say.
Well, it's completely different. It's foreign to me. I sit there and I'm going through and I'm like, wow, this is totally... I was expecting something that would just kind of echo what I'm used to for, like, the EVE Online forums. But it's... the cool thing is, when you go to load the stories, it defaults to random.
Yeah.
But if you go, like, top red... right now, I mean, there's a Lord Maldoror's player-owned surprise. That's actually a pretty good story too.
Yeah.
But people, I mean, definitely. Well, the posting's over with, so if you didn't get in there, but you don't. It doesn't have to be.
There's plenty of stories there, though.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be where it's like you stole like a quadrillion ISK, or you made like half a Nullsec disband or something like that. Some of the best stories are literally the ones that are. Well, at least what I find it with readers is the closer it is that's within their grasp, the more that they're into it because it's something that's, possible for them.
There was a funny one that was somebody in a Hector pretending to be a POS.
Yeah. They had a medium tower,
right?
And and I haven't read it in the last couple of days, but they didn't have the fuel for it or something, and they just a guy in a hick, said he felt naked without the tower shield, so he put up his bubble, and that tricked the enemy force into thinking that the tower shield was up. So they went warping in, thinking, well, they can't shoot us, but we can't shoot them, but they can't shoot us, and then they went in. But it's a great story. Definitely read that.
Yeah, it has pictures.
But if you sort it by top read or top or most discussed, I think top read's probably better. As far as and then there's a guy that inadvertently caused a Raiden capital fleet to get massacred because he was just popping these Sino frigates before it was the Raiden's evac Sino that they kept trying to get out of this fight. And because he was like, oh, okay, let me just, anathema.
He was just like a random pirate.
Yeah, he's a random pirate, just, popping Sino. It's like it's no big deal. And what he was doing was he was causing a null alliance to sit there and get massacred.
We need that Sino!
Yeah, and meanwhile, he's just, mowing down on a sandwich or whatever. So, and there's the Guiding Hand Social Club thing. It's definitely worth the read.
That was a very famous one.
There's a lot of good stuff in there. There's
also one I'm seeing right now, how a 9-month-old player convinced 10% of EVE to vote for her into the CSM, which is like the one newbie, one of the new CSM members is a 9-month-old character basically who quit EVE previously and came back. And she's been pushing for a newbie friendly EVE, which I'm not going to disagree with, but it's kind of interesting that she actually recruited enough votes, I guess.
Wow, yeah, that is. I did not know that.
Yeah, wow. She's associated with the Prove block, the CVA and all that. I'm not sure what her actual alliance is, but the one token female member, so will be interesting to see.
I think the whole. I guess tutorial and all that, it's like that's key to that right there is outside of like somebody reading, some theft and like PC game or anything like that. The tutorial, that's going to make or break whether a person is really just going to stay. So
absolutely.
I have my own like vision in my head where I think a tutorial should be, but
and I think it's different from what I think it should be, but I think that it should be there and it should be more awesome.
Yeah. It's it's come a long way, but it's just like a lot of things. Nothing's ever really finished. It's just you got to keep iterating on it, and
there'll probably be changes for the new scanning system and everything. There'll be a whole exploration setup that'll need to change.
I'm definitely looking forward to that because I really hope that's the doorway to no local. Let me just put that in there.
Doorway to no local. Wow, you just are not giving up on this idea.
Never.
As I said, I like the idea that was in the CSM, super secret Skype convos about having a specific local intel UI where you can sort it, filter it, and there may be some in-game hardware, deployables that may be associated with that.
There's a lot of stuff they could do.
There's a lot of stuff they could do.
As long as it's not freaking where I'm looking at spreadsheets online. That's but like the new scanner, it's just where it sweeps around in like a sphere and everything's like out there.
Yeah, and then you drag your mouse in every single direction to look to see where the blips are showing.
Yeah, it requires some sort of interaction to move around and look.
I don't know. I kind of like having just a list.
Come on, guys.
Well, I wonder whether that whether that carrier loss would have worked the same way in the new system. Whether that would have been visible or who knows.
Oh, the guy that was streaming?
Yeah.
No, he would have still died because he would have kept streaming and kept ratting, and so it was just a matter of time.
It was just a matter of time.
Yeah, that was destiny right there. There's no no mechanic that was going to prevent that.
It's a week later and we're still talking about that. The comedy is powerful with this one, right?
Yeah, there's so many things that it's like if one of those things would have one of those situations where you got 50 things, and if any one of those would have gone the other way, right, he would still be alive. So
yeah, I was disappointed to say, by the way, Singularity, we do have the gate animations. You jump through the gates, but you don't have the same like transitions for Sino jumping right now.
Would be.
I'm somewhat disappointed. Awesome. Yeah. Well, you know what? One of the things that annoys me about Sino jumping is you see your ship. Well, the sound. I think the sound could.
No, I think it's the jump bridge. Do you have sound on when you do a mass jump bridge?
It's noisy, right? It's just, but you see yourself jumping out, right? Big red flashlight. You never see yourself jumping in, and I'd like to see that.
Well, that would be it. Well, I would much prefer if just you entered the tunnel and you went, because if there was like a couple seconds where you got to sit there and see what's going on. I know we're just talking like 2 seconds, but where you got to see and then you show up on the field, it's like you already have a slight advantage. I mean, where you can't be shot, but I don't know. Well,
you can't be shot. When you come out of a Sino, right, you actually are invulnerable for 60 seconds.
Or I think it's 10 seconds.
It's 60 seconds, because this was part of the whole death portal exploit. This was if you do not do anything, if you don't touch it, if you don't move, don't activate any modules, don't scan, don't anything, you will be invulnerable for, I believe, 60 seconds. And there was a problem, which was that the bombs would not break the invulnerability, right? And so this was exploited for a while, whereby a bunch of stealth bombers would jump through a covert Sino, fire their bombs, and the bombs would just sit exactly on the ships, and then they would detonate, in a 15-kilometer radius. And so you could actually jump several waves through the same Sino, or one Sino after another, and they would be able to set several waves off before the first group became invulnerable.
I don't remember hearing that. Wow, that's crazy.
It was kind of set. It was declared an exploit pretty quickly once it was realized. But I guess the point was that if the launching bombers did nothing, they could destroy the entire fleet before they were vulnerable.
Oh yeah, that was definitely bad.
Bad news. It was, I think they called it Doom Portal or something stupid like that. It was. I read about it in a thread where they also explained how there was a bug that let people, remove roles from anyone in corporation.
I do think I remember hearing something about that, but this has been a while ago, though, right?
Yeah, it was around Christmas. It was discussed.
Oh, okay.
So it's been fixed since then, I hope.
Well, there was a story about a guy, and again, we're starting to really go back, but there was a CEO that they tried to outvote while he was logged off or something, and then he came back, and then it turns out even though there was a voting process and he wasn't supposed to have roles or anything, he was still able to do things to keep the whole the heist from going 100% or something.
Well, yeah, apparently the UI in the game, which forms like corporation controls and everything, apparently that the control over who does what is entirely, or was around Christmas.
So they did fix it?
Yeah, it was all the controls were inside the UI. All the security checks were inside the actual client rather than on the server. So it was possible to sidestep that if you were evil. But apparently that has been fixed by Team Security. This is something I heard, but I've not verified, let's say. So maybe I'm just speaking total garbage now. You hear a lot of stories about things. But anyway, what I think that's us coming up to running out of things to talk about. I mean, it has been an amazing week. Oh yeah, I mean, we beat the PCU was beat, right? Peak concurrent users was 65,303.
It's what was it?
It was lots.
Well, what was it prior to it?
Oh, it was 63,000 and something. So it was like almost at least 2,000 more.
Yeah, it's
So that was a nice bump.
Was it CCP said there was, because EVE Offline website, that's like run by a player. I always thought that was an official CCP thing. But CCP said they wanted to double check it and verify it, but I'm pretty sure, that it's correct. But yeah, the new record, 65,303.
We won't be breaking that for a while, unfortunately. No. Yeah,
maybe one day we'll look back and know, like, 65,000 people online. It's a standard Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Well, I've been, I'm actually looking at the Mitani website, and it's still running the live Twitch stream of the Jita Undock. I mean, and there's people watching it apparently.
Oh,
that was
There's some people they're mesmerized by it.
Look at all those spaceships.
Yeah, I think they think of 300. Where the guys are getting pushed off the cliff. But I think that pretty much wraps it up for this week. So
yeah, well, there's been a lot of cool things. Yeah, as I said, if you're an EVE player, go and check on Singularity, because all the new awesome stuff is there.
Test that stuff out.
Give that feedback. Stuff out. Yep. Get to try the new toys before anyone else. Yeah, that's it, right?
I think that's it. So
I'm sure I had. We've been promoting Flight of 1,000 Rifters, but that's not happening. What's the big event this weekend? I guess there's probably another ganked roam. That's about it.
I don't know. It might just be finding out where Tess decides to land and just everybody, harasses them or something. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm sure something will happen. So.
Yeah, but there's no events. I think everybody's finally having a weekend off after 3 or 4 weeks of just solid big weekend events. Seriously,
probably a lot of more people losing those battle cruisers.
That's right.
Well, is anybody any of the Null alliances or blocks doing any fleet doctrines where it's just those battle cruisers? Because somebody was telling me that they're are they overpowered or are they balanced?
I think they're probably overpowered, but they are very expensive and rare. So I don't think they're that overpowered if they are. I mean, it's good as this whole 666 layout. So they are the ship of the devil.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
I don't see any doctrines happening simply because it's not something you can rely on.
Yeah, I mean, what does it counter? What kind of advantage does it give other than the look at us, flare,
bling? But, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, if you lose it though, you can always get that collector's edition and get a BPC of it, 5-run BPC.
You could.
I'm just gonna hang on to mine. Then, a couple years from now, I'll put it in the market, make a couple hundred. I don't know. Maybe I'll give away as a prize or something from my next event. I might do that.
I gave away a bunch of prizes, by the way, for the Burn Jita sweepstakes, and there are still people who have not answered their mail. So there are prizes waiting for you. So check your email if I send it. I know your spam filter probably says you are a winner is spam, but sometimes it's legit. So anyway, yeah, I think we shall leave it here for this week. I am Scott Manley. You are
Marlona Sky.
Fly safe.